All right, I want to tell you a story about FantaCo and specifically Sally Sellers, a new sales rep for FantaCo. And we're going to talk about what it means. And what we're going to show you specifically is how we've integrated OpenClaw with a backend of traditional enterprise capability like customers, products, orders, project management, HR recruiting, things of that nature. We're going to try to show you how OpenClaw works within an enterprise context. Now, to do that, we put all that within OpenShift. So I got OpenShift running here. I have OpenClaw running here. I've got the backend infrastructure built on Spring Boot in case of traditional CRUD-based, REST-based applications, wrapped with MCP, Model Context Protocol, all that fed into an OpenClaw perspective. If I go over here to OpenClaw, you can see I can ask it questions like, what MCP servers do you have? And it'll say things like, I've got customer and CRM project tools, I've got finance invoicing tools, HR policy and recruiting tools, product catalog tools, sales order tools, sales policy, and of course I have traditional OpenClaw style tools like, the web browser, file management, things of that nature. I can even ask it what skills it has. And you can see there's a number of skills. And I can even look over here. As you can see, there's some out-of-the-box skills like the quote builder, the customer 360. We're going to try to demo many of these things. There's also some sub-agents here. So we have an account watchdog and finance monitor, in addition to the general default agent that we're going to be interacting with. All right, all that is kind of ready to go here. And we're going to try to have some fun and see what happens, okay? We're going to see what happens with this. There are some other aspects of this. Here's a GUI for the product catalog. There's also a little customer user interface that interacts with the backend. I do have Swagger for the REST endpoints as well. So we're going to try to make it go, all right? Let's try to figure this out. We're going to primarily use something called Telegram, okay? One of the beauties of OpenClaw is you can interact with it through whatever your favorite tool is. Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, things of that nature. And we're going to kind of make that work. Okay. We're going to try to make this work. Okay. So let's try this. All right. Your name is FantaBot. I'm a brand new sales rep named Sally Sellers. And my bot is going to be called FantaBot. And my name is Sally Sellers. Basically, when you get your brand new OpenClaw, you want to introduce yourself, right? You've got to get to know your personal assistant. And it's nice to kind of interact with it a little bit. And let's see here. Got it. Okay, I'm writing that down so I don't have to rediscover it next time. Okay, good. It's making note of that. It's going to remember that. That's at least our goal here. Well, okay, create a memory of this. You are my personal assistant. Create a memory of my birth date. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Birth date is April 9, 1987. How about that? That is not my, the guy who's speaking's birth date. That is Sally Sellers' birth date. And it's going to create a memory of that. Okay, so already we're seeing something super interesting. We're interacting with OpenClaw from a Telegram perspective. I could be using my voice, using my phone, but in this case, I'm just going to use the desktop. And it says, I'm going to remember this information. Now, I'm curious about this. You don't actually see, you don't have a tool in here, at least not that one that I found, that allows you to browse the memory of OpenClaw in their kind of admin console. But I kind of built one real quick. Let's go see if we can use this to look at the workspace and find the memories. I'm going to see, let's see here if there's anything that changed recently. FantaBot. Okay, and FantaBot has a memory. And let's see here, a few seconds ago, and there's the birth date. So we actually just went into its memory. We picked into the brain and found the memory. And OpenClaw did, in fact, write that down. Okay, so that already is kind of amazing. This means the agent can learn over time. This means that the agent can understand things about me that are personal to me. That's what makes this an amazing technology. So let's ask it some more questions. Let's keep going here. Okay. Let's see. What are your available skills? Because I would like to know what my personal assistant can do. What are its skills? What are its tools? Let's see what else it might be able to tell us. Okay, you can see it's got a customer 360 and quote builder. That's interesting. Oh, and it's got some specialized tools there. You can see that it went ahead and answered in advance, the tool question. I didn't have to ask it. So that's pretty awesome. And I can do things with that. So let's kind of drill into these things. How about the 401k? How is it handled here? I'm a brand new employee. How is it handled here at FantaCo? And I would like to know more about the 401k. As an example, let's try that. So 401k in this case is a backend system. It is a traditional RAG-based architecture, naive RAG architecture. You don't have to worry about that because I'm going to interact purely with my personal assistant here, my OpenClaw, and let's see if it gets it right. I can tell if it's interesting, if it's correct, because we have very, very interesting HR benefits here at FantaCo. You can see the contributions and then multiples are based on the astrological alignment of Jupiter, crossed with the positive affirmation spoken in the building that day. In other words, we don't just match you 25% and boring stuff like that. We'll ratchet it up multiple levels there. You can see we have some nice contribution matching, and there's some other things. And when you retire, you get a life-size personal statue of yourself and a personal bard to sing your praises. All right, I love the 401k benefits here. Let's go back to this. What is my birthday? Because I want to know. I want to see if it remembers me. Just to kind of come back to that one. Okay. And now let's see what it answers there, but then I have a tricky question for it. This is all live. I'm doing this live. It got my birthday. Fantastic. Who are my customers? This is the tricky question because it needs to know who I am to then potentially find the customers in the database that are tied to Sally sellers. And let's see. Yeah, Brew and Bean, Green Thumb, Tech Solutions, Nova Spark. Yep, those are in fact my customers. Fantastic. So already that is a very tricky question, but it nailed it. Let's see here. What are the Tech Solutions recent orders? Yeah, because I'm interested in Tech Solutions. Let's drill down to that one. I didn't have to spell Tech Solutions IT all spelled out. I didn't have to use the customer ID. I'm just basically using plain English. That is the magic of this technology. It is pure natural language processing. And I think I got it. That looks good. Yeah. That does look good. That looks good. Okay. All right. So I think that's correct. And let's see here. And as a matter of fact, we could go drill into the UI over here, but let's not worry about it. Let's keep rocking along here. Okay. Yeah. Any notes associated with Tech Solutions? Before I call that customer up, I'd like, to know what's going on with them. So what notes do you have on them? And I can see what they ordered recently. I can look at their notes. I can then maybe determine if I need to call them. Checking CRM notes they're building an imagination pod. That is correct. All right, fantastic. That is very good. And as a matter of fact, I think I have that up here in this basic REST endpoint here. So let's see here. I want to kind of double check. Initial site visit. Dun, dun, dun. That's their project notes. Let's see what their customer notes are. So this is, that was Tech Solutions. I want to make sure that we're getting the right thing here, okay? And Tech Solutions building imagination pod for 4th floor. Contract assigned. All right. So natural language processing, didn't have to use the GUI, but you can see it's working off the exact same set of Postgres databases, REST backend endpoints, MCP to cover all that up. All that's happening in real time. So let's actually go now and say, what projects does Tech Solutions have? And because we run, in addition to selling products from our normal product catalog, we also provide lightweight construction services where we go out to the customer and give them these amazing experiences with it right in their office, right? After COVID, we wanted to get people back into the office so we can go out and do the interstellar spaceship as an example. And you can see it's a rather expensive project, but as a way, that's why they could hire me, Sally Sellers, because we got to do these big projects, okay? Let me see. Does Tech Systems have any outstanding invoices? Outstanding invoices, right? One reason we're doing this is we're exploring the entire enterprise backend infrastructure. Traditional enterprise architecture means that all these things come from different systems, completely different subsystems within enterprise, finance, accounting, legal. The product catalog is different than the sales order system, different than the project management system from the CRM. So you can see there that, we do have an outstanding overdue bill to be paid. Okay, so I just need to remember these things because I might need to give, when I give them a call, I might want to bring that up. Say, hey, what do you have for us there? All right, let's actually talk product now a little bit because we do have a nice product catalog over here. What are the products in the Enchanted Forest theme? Okay, because we have our product catalog organized by themes. One, we want to make an interesting product catalog, but we sell these interesting experiences. Not only do we sell the products like we were Office Depot or Staples, but we will come build this out for you. And you can see that we have, the Imagination Pod service of $124,000 there. We do the design, the fabrication, installation, all that. Okay. All right. So fantastic. So it understands that we do sell that kind of service. That is really good. We'll probably come back to that. Oh, I got something here. Let's see. Create a scheduled task. All right. Now this is a superpower of OpenClaw. Every 1 minute. Okay. Check Tech Solutions projects and alert me for any urgent notes or items in Telegram. All right, the reason I'm going to put that, so I'm going to basically put that little thing out there. Much like the memory system I showed you earlier, it's going to try to set up for me a background task and a recurring task. Let's see if we can do this. Check right now in some items. The schedule reply with approve 1 minute. Yes. If you want schedule version, approve the 1 minute monitor cron job. How about that? So that's actually one of the key words I've noticed. It's a background scheduled task, but it is a cron type task. And I get to set up, I need one practical piece first. There isn't any built-in cron scheduler tool. Hey now, I know, let's see. This is actually where it gets really interesting. Sometimes you have to convince it that it does have all the tools that you wanted to have. The host script. I want no, and try to install the recurring thing. So you do have a cron scheduler. Okay, and actually, while it's debating it with me, I'm kind of curious. So you can see cron jobs are enabled here if we go to the backend information. But I'm wondering if the issue is that because it's a sub agent working with me, it does say cron scheduler is enabled here too. It says yes. Okay. And monitor. All right. You're right. OpenClaw does have heartbeat style scheduling. And you notice what happened? It actually logged me out of OpenClaw on the back end. And what it's doing right now, sometimes when it has to make some of these changes and set itself up, it actually restarts itself. That's actually a pretty OpenClaw normal behavior. So it is in the process of restarting itself. And hopefully when it comes back to life, it'll be able to kind of create that monitor for me and help me monitor my customer, in this case, Tech Solutions, for specific notes that are coming back. So in this case, again, I'm doing this all live. It gave me a little more pushback than I expected. Sometimes your personal assistant just needs to be managed a little bit harder, and we'll see if it comes back with the cron job set up for me, and we'll find out. Okay, but we do have to let it finish. And if I go over here to topology, let's see, where is that little OpenClaw instance at? Do you see it? Oh, there it is. So you can see it is in fact restarting. Okay, it went to 0, scaling to 0, and it's going to scale back up. This is the OpenShift topology view. You can see I got a bunch of stuff running here in the background, including all the different Postgres databases, the different MCP servers, different REST endpoints. Most of that's written in Java, like a traditional enterprise would be, and in Spring Boot in this case. But OpenClaw, the single instance here, is my OpenClaw, or Sally Sellers in this case. So if we could get that OpenClaw back online, let's see, while we're waiting on it, let's see if we can find some other entertaining things to look at. Yeah. I'm interested in this task scheduling. That's what we're working on right now. But you can kind of see here, this is our OpenClaw. It does have a couple of skills like Quote Builder, Customer 360. It can handle sales policy searching, things of that nature. HR policies, we already showed you. Sub-agents are part of the architecture. And a memory system. All that is part of the magic of OpenClaw. All right. And FantaCo wants all their sales reps to have one of these. Everyone gets a claw. Is kind of the point of this. Let's see if it's coming back. It is online again. And let's see. Will it come back online? Oh. Okay. Cron jobs. Yes. All right. Let's go look at our Telegram. Let's see. Is the scheduled cron job in place? I'm kind of curious to know if it made note of it. Just like if you had a personal assistant, like a human personal assistant, a chief of staff, a person who's going to be your administrative assistant, sometimes you have to remind them, did you really make note of that? I verified that it's there. I don't have the local 1 minute monitor yet. And yes, scheduling is there. No, not yet. Yes. Set it up. I'm hoping that it will eventually get that set up and we'll make it work. And then we'll come back to it. Okay. So, but one of the goals here is to show that with cron scheduling, heartbeat capability, OpenClaw will be proactive. It'll do things on my behalf. All right, let's keep going though. I got a bunch of other things I want to show you, and this video is getting really long already. Let's see here. All right. Okay. 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 Let's do this. Let's ask the other RAG. There's another RAG endpoint about sales policy. What is our return sales policy? Okay, and it looks like it's figuring out the other thing as well. Let's see. I found the host config. Cron is enabled. Heartbeats are on the right mechanism. Okay. And then restart. So it starts to learn. Okay. Let's see. Is it going to have to restart again? Let's hope not. Let's hope not, because, you know, that's irritating, that the fact that but OpenClaw likes to restart itself. I would have to admit that. And again, remember, OpenClaw is a personal agent. One pod, one human. One OpenClaw instance, one human is kind of the nature of it. And let's see here. What is our sales policy? I created a tech solutions monitor agent, configured it for 1 minute heartbeat, pointed to Telegram, config is saved. What's not done yet? Restartable service. So the new monitor is not active until the gateway is restarted or reloaded. Okay, wow. Okay. It's not live yet. Interesting. I'm trying to get in the foreground here. Yeah. Yes. Okay. But I'm still interested in the sales policy, because I might have a customer on the phone right now and they're asking me about what the return policy is. And okay, there we go. We got the return policy now. It was just coming back a little asynchronously there. And I got to go figure out what taco shells and tortillas are. At one point, I did confuse this thing with the FantaCo. I thought was fan tacos. So I probably still have some old taco information in there. But yeah, there we go. That is the sales policy information I'm interested in. Now, another thing you can do with OpenClaw is you can create your own skills. I wish to learn how to create my own skills. Okay. Create a skill that simply asks for a name and then responds with jumbo, that's Swahili, bonjour, and aloha name. Okay. All right. So the goal here is just a simple hello world. I'm curious to see if it can handle this sort of thing. A little hello skill. I'll create a tiny example skill in your workspace. I'm going to study and reuse it. Okay. And let's see here. I'm curious to know if the skill shows up here. Workspace skills, customer 360, the hello greeter. Look at that. All right. So that's the one we just created by simply using natural language. So I've now created a new skill. Okay. And repackaging it. All right. Yeah. I made a simple example skill called hello greeter. All right. Let's good. Okay. It's going to give me the source code for that skill. Looks like that does mean it's probably showing up somewhere back here in my workspace. Let's see, skills, hello greeter. Look at that. All right. So there's the skill code it just generated for me. So it now has a custom skill. What this means is I, as a user, can now, program this thing through skills. And I just did it through natural language. Say hello to let's say Dax. Dax is my sister's name. Let's see if it can figure out if it knows to greet Dax correctly. Jumbo, bonjour, aloha, Dax. That is fantastic. All right. So let's test this skill again. Let's test the skill. Marvin. Let's see if we can say hello to Marvin. All right. That's kind of cool, though. I just want to see what it could do with skills, because so this means the end user, again, with a personal agent, can make this thing as they want. They can fully customize it, train their agent, if you will. So let's create another skill. Create another skill. All right. That manages personal customer notes. Notes that use the workspace memory. And when creating the notes, identifies the customer. If there is any confusion, ask me for clarity. All right. Because, if my assistant doesn't understand what I mean, it needs to ask me for clarity. Use the customer database and MCP. I'll go ahead and just kind of tell it that. I think you can get away without saying the customer MCP. And all right, all right, fantastic. Let's try that. I'm kind of curious to see what it'll do in this case. Will it give me more skills here to work with? And let's go back over here and let's hit refresh over here. Oh, come on now. And for the customer note memory. All right, fantastic. Look at that. I have a skill there. And I'm curious to see if I get a skill in the workspace. So this workspace browser, by the way, is just showing you the underlying magic of OpenClaw. It basically just putting these files on its local disk. Okay, that's all it's really doing. And it has a nice little user interface here. But the end user is primarily working with this kind of user experience. Okay, it's kind of doing the thing there. That's kind of cool. Okay, all right. So let's try this. If you want, we can test it right now. Yeah. Okay. So what are the contacts for tech solutions? I want to remember that one again. Okay. And let's see if this will work for me. I'm kind of curious. So in the traditional CRM game, if you're a salesperson, there are things that are enterprise data and notes, like who the customer is. In this case, it is David. And when I'm talking to David, I had a great meeting with David at Sally Sellers, and I made note of some things in our meeting. So let me see, update my personal notes for Tech Solutions CEO David. All right, his wife's name is Bianca. All right, I'd like to remember that next time. They have 2 children, and those ages 4 and 8, and that is Blake and Dion. I could do all this verbally, by the way, but I'm doing it via typing at this point. And he is a huge fan of Van Halen. All right, so I'm a good sales rep. I want to remember these kind of personal details so I can offer that personal touch when I talk to David again. After all, he's spending $250,000 with us. He might want to build out more office space with us and, of course, outfit those new things because Tech Solutions is a booming building business. And I'm kind of curious to know if it will maintain this private note for me. Tied to customer 03, that is correct. That is, in fact, right. Save the details. Personal memory, not in the CRM. So let's see if I can go here now. And over here, let's see. I'm kind of curious to know where it went. Memory, a few seconds ago. Roger's wife is Bianca. David and Bianca have 2 children, 4 and 8. Blake and Dion. Oh, that is perfect. Huge fan. That is absolutely perfect. Look at that. It made notes. You notice the notes and the skills are all marked down. That is the language of AI, right? It puts everything in markdown form and just keeps it in its little workspace. So OpenClaw is this magical workspace. So that is amazingly powerful. Again, I'm doing this live. I'm actually really, really happy that it worked there. Okay, well, let's keep going because there's more stuff to show you. Who is the primary contact for Nova Sparks? All right, we got our David at Tech Solutions figured out. Let's figure out our AI, Nova Spark AI Labs. All right, who's my people there? Because I'm working a deal with them and I need to know more about them. Okay. I need to know more about them. And you can see, okay, yeah, Priya, fantastic, VP of Operations. That is, in fact, my contact. Again, I'm a new sales rep. I got to learn all these things as I go work with my customer. But I have this special skill here that they gave to me as a new hire. It was part of the OpenClaw setup I was provided when I got my personal assistant. It's called the Customer 360. Let's see if this will work for me. I have never even tested this before, AI Labs, but I'm kind of curious to see what that skill will do. So enterprise skills in addition to personal skills, enterprise notes and relational data and enterprise data in addition to personal data. I can mix and match between those worlds. I can build automations using OpenClaw between those worlds and, hopefully make some magic happen. Now, let's see here. Pulling the full 360 view. Okay, remember, if I come back over here, there are some skills, Customer 360. I think that's listed here as Customer 360. Again, you can see the overall skills are listed here in addition to the skills associated with a specific agent. And yeah, if I go here and then so I think, yeah, I can turn that skill off too, by the way. I can disable it, but I'm not going to. I want to see it work. But it did give me a really nice details there. Okay, so that's kind of cool all by itself. And let me see. We want to go do some more things for working with skills. Okay, but let me go Okay, let's go do this now. What skills are available for working with customers? Okay, I'm just kind of curious to see what else is in the system here. All right, and then yeah. Okay, so we've got our skills. I want to make sure we cover that. 360. There's a quote builder. All right, yeah, I got to remember that. And the new note memory system, because we built that one on the fly right here. So that's awesome. And okay, all right. And so, okay, yeah, let's use that quote builder. Okay, quote builder. Yeah, quote builder. All right, start a new project for customer Nova Sparks AI Labs based on the theme Enchanted Forest. All right, so let that fly. I'm kind of curious about something though. If you remember, there's that Tech Solutions. Okay. Oh, you remember, we did ask for a monitor. Should anything urgent show up? Okay. It now has shown up. So in the database, relational database, we have an urgent note. I'm kind of curious to know if my monitor will pick up on that and send me a note here in Telegraph and alert me. But for now, let's continue with working with Nova Sparks here. We got the draft quote. Okay, recommended products, all that. You want me to actually create the project? Reply with approve. You know what? I'm willing to give that quote to the customer. We're going to go basically ask him for $124,000. I like that deal, so approve. And now I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen here. Let's approve it. And now the question is, I'm going to create it. Tool set available in the session. Build, quote, inspect it. Finalize the project wording, create the exact draft, help you adjust the quote, but I can't submit the new project directly in the session. Oh, man. Okay, so part of my back end apparently is not responding to that specific tool, but I thought I had a tool. What are the tools for the customer MCP? Okay, let's see if we can find out. And I'm not getting that alert from that urgent new message that's showing up for Tech Solutions. I'm kind of curious to see why is it can't. It's now let me look the tools of customer. Get projects. Dun, dun, dun. I imagine when I did the create project, it never actually got deployed. Never actually got deployed into the back end here. Right, there's no, not exposed here is create project. There is a create project, but I probably didn't deploy it into this system. So it can't actually call the create project for the project that we created there, which is unfortunate. I'll have to go back and work on that one. Like I said, this is a fun all live demo here. And so check on that alert for urgent messages related to Tech Solutions. I'm kind of curious about that one. At the same time, I do have some other things here, like the account watchdog here. All right, what is my account watchdog? It's got certain tools associated with it, and it's got a certain skills associated with it. And I'm wondering how do we engage that? Let's see here. Oh, there is an urgent item related to electrical inspection failed. All right, it matters because the holographic display was flagged as non-compliant. Okay, the customer is concerned about that deadline, affects this milestone, so the alert is real. Okay, and we're going to have to monitor this. I'm going to have to get in touch with the customer there. Maybe I got to bind those Van Halen tickets because we have made a mistake on that project. We're going to go fix that. Okay, well, we did a lot of talking here, and this video has gone a long time, but I kind of want to show you all the different things you could do with running OpenClaw, specifically in this case, running OpenShift with all the backend infrastructure. And we kind of did all this live, and we got what we got. You can kind of see the workspace browser right here. This is, if you're familiar with OpenClaw, these are pretty normal things like agents, heartbeat, identity, memory. What did we say for identity? FantaBot, there we go. That's its identity. I did give it that name. Okay, and memory. Let's see, it knows I'm Sally Sellers with that birthday. Fantastic. So as you work with it, it builds up its memory. It understands you better. And of course, understands all the enterprise tools that you provide it. And then you can basically make it your own. Remember, it's a personal agent. It's specifically there to handle memory and all its capabilities, the tools that you've given it, and then it can help you interact with it. And again, that Telegram experience is actually very nice, but it could have been another channel as well. All right, let me close out this video. I thank you all very much. And hopefully you got something out of that, and you might appreciate our FantaCo HR benefits and come work here at some point. Thank you very much. All right, I'm trying a little experiment here. I finished that last video with the create project not working, and I went back and looked behind the scenes, and I had not deployed the create project feature, which was part of the customer CRM, part of the customer MCP, into the system. You can see what's notably not exposed here is create project. And I thought I had created it, but I had created it. I'd written the code, but I had not deployed it, and I just not thought about that. And so I'm actually having Claude Code in the background here deploy it. And by deploying it, it's going to have to restart the gateway, because that's a pretty common thing you see in OpenClaw land. When you modify its configuration, it often has to restart. And sometimes with that restart, it can fail, and it has to kind of work itself out, if you know what I mean, to try to right itself once it gets its configuration sorted. And what I'm trying to see is if I can get that create project MCP into the mix. And here's the thing I want to kind of show if this works. The session state that you see here is still saved even though the pod is restarting. See, the pod is, whoop, it went down and it came back up now. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go back over, look over here. Okay. Okay, so I wonder if it works now. I wonder if it works. Okay. I think it came back online. And this was the, what is it? Just the skills. We have the customer 360, customer note memory, hello greeter, quote builder. That was part of the quote builder skill. Now go see if you can create that project for, it was Nova. It was for Nova Sparks. All right. Let's go see. I'm kind of curious to know if it, now that's come back after getting the surgery done on the back end, you actually saw the gateway restart and come back and log itself back in. I'm kind of curious now to see if it will remember way back here when we created that project using the quote builder skill where I said approve, $124,200 project, if it can get that injected. I'll say create it, new project created. Okay. Let's go look at the backend database here. This is 200, customer 200, and there is in fact a new project. And it basically is for numbers, the imagination pod, enchanted forest. Okay. And all right, so I got it in there. Okay, so that is literally what I wanted to do. I put it in there. I don't think I have a budget field here. I'll have to go add that at some point. Well, actually, it's right here, right there. So 124,200, that is in fact there. It just doesn't format it because this is just a REST endpoint. And if we go look at the GUI, let's go look at the GUI here. So this is Nova. All right, let's see. And there's the project right there, 124,200. All right, so it did make it into the backend system. And all I had to do was get that thing actually deployed correctly and then tell it to restart the gateway after getting it configured. But it's important to know that the session memory was preserved even though the backend pod was restarting. That's another feature of OpenClaw I really like. But I thought I wanted to add that in and, kind of bring this demo to a close.